What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, Tezos, Digibyte, and Litecoin. Those are 6 I'm going to have time to get into today. And what I wanted to do with Bitcoin, I wanted to look at previous retracements and how deep they went, and also how many days it took to get to that point to where we had a reversal and we got moving back to the upside, because that's what we're looking at right now. We're still in an intermediate term uptrend, but we've been in a short term downtrend. So what we're going to do is look at how many days we had before when we'd get these retracements before we started the reversal and we got moving back to the upside. So I think this is going to help people out. I know it's going to be tough for you, so I'm going to explain it, but I wanted to get the big picture of Bitcoin here and really look at the pattern structure. So I know it's going to be hard for people on their phones, but just bear with me. I'm going to try to do the best I can to explain this. If you get some from these videos, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's dig into this. So taking the last bull market that we had for Bitcoin, what we were looking at here was typically the retracements were between 30 and 45% each time we had one of those big deep retracements. And many times it went even back to this 200 moving average. We're not at that point yet. We're a little bit up above it. The 200 moving average is at 9,812. So this is why I'm talking about Bitcoin needs to get moving now. We've cooled everything down. If we're going to continue this uptrend, we need to start getting moves in the days to come here pretty soon, or else this could turn into an intermediate term downtrend. We just start having those lower highs and lower lows. But as we were looking at the retracement period back here, it was 35 days the first time for our retracement, all the way back down to the 200 moving average. The next time we had our retracement, it took 24 days. And now what you're seeing over here, we're at 37 days. So we're above the time that we'd had before, that 35 and 24. Back here during this last little uptrend we had in 2019, the retracements were 29 days, and then it was 30 days we had for the retracement. So right now we're a little bit farther than we've been before, and that's something I want you to pay attention to. This is the spot we need to hold this higher low right here. And I apologize, guys, if you can hear my dog. My wife's leaving and he's reacting to the car, so I apologize for that. But what you can see right here is we want to hold this higher low, and this is also our second trend line. We're doing a trend line fanning technique right here. So we broke down through our first trend line, we back tested it, and now what we're trying to do is find that higher low. And it's important that we stay up above this area, this 10,500, because that was major resistance that we would want to become support. So this is the day, guys. Bitcoin needs to get moving here, because if we drop below this big cluster of wicks and we lose this 200 moving average, things could get pretty tough and difficult for us, because we're going to be having a lot of overhead resistance, and we haven't had that big swell of volume yet to defend this higher low and potentially make a move to the upside. So these are things that I'm looking at for Bitcoin. And I just want to point out the fact this retracement, now that we've had this short-term downtrend, we've been in it for 37 days. So this has been a while now, and this is the time that we need to get moving. If you take a look at the RSI, everything's cooled down. So if we are to find support here, we have plenty of room to really go back up and try to run and make a high over top of 11,087 is going to be the spot. But the RSI is at 43. So we have plenty of room. Typically when we pump, we get up around 87 up into the 80s, so we'd have plenty of room to make a nice move, even potentially over top of that 12,300 if we could get this moving here. But we have to find that support. If we take a look at the technicals for Bitcoin right now, on the 1 day, 14 sell, 9 neutral, and a 5 buy. Oscillators 2 sell, 8 neutral, and a 1 buy. On the week, we still are throwing that buy signal, and that's a 5 sell, 10 neutral, and a 13 buy. So that's going to be Bitcoin, guys. Really watch these key areas, especially that 200 moving average. We start having candle closes below that, that's going to be a bad sign for us, because that's a long-term moving average that a lot of investors are paying attention to, and we've been holding that since April 28th, 2020. So I want to put that out there. The next one we are going to get into is going to be Ethereum. Take a look at ETH. ETH's at $339. We still are holding up above 332. That's our critical support area, and that's also going to correlate with the 100 moving average. So this is the spot right now that we need to find support for Ethereum. Set this higher low and go up. If we don't and we fail there, most likely we're going to go back to $285. That's going to be around the 200 moving average, and that's a spot I would look at for maybe a potential buy, depending on how the price action is going. But that would be a fairly deep retracement that we've had. And if you zoom out and you really take a look at Ethereum, guys, look at where we're at here. We had a double bottom that spanned a long period of time, almost over a year, so that's a good sign there. And then we've been moving up here. So if we can continue to hold these areas, this would be a nice healthy correction like we had back in this area. and then we potentially could get moving again. But this is the spot. Yet again, like we talked about, you can see over here, we always held that 200 moving average. We need to stay up above that. So the lowest we really could go is about that 285 before I started to get a little nervous about this uptrend here in the intermediate term. So I want to put that out there for you. If we take a look at ETH, the technicals, we have a 14 sell, 9 neutral, 5 buy, oscillators, 3 sell, 8 neutral, 0 buy. If we go out to the 1 week, though, we're looking a little bit better on the longer term, 5 sell, 10 neutral, and 13 buy. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here. If we can just get moving, we can finally put in that bottom and get moving to the upside. That's what's going to pay some dividends for us. But you can see each time, last time we were in this bull market, look how deep these retracements were, and that's what we're dealing with now. So it's always good to zoom out and pay attention to that, guys. So that's Ethereum. Give me a thumbs up there if you like me covering ETH. We're going to move into Link next. And Link is one I've talked about how I have been laddering into Link now. And this is my second target now has been hit for Link, and that is the 200 moving average. So what I'm going to do is look to see what we do off this area, what type of candlestick pattern we have off this potentially bullish candlestick pattern. But I have started layering into a Link position because we've dropped so hard, so fast and aggressively, and we were down around that 0.618, and that's when I wanted to start to layer in. You can see our RSI now is down around 30, so this would be the spot that we'd have plenty of room. Last time we started to make a serious move, the RSI was around that 27.30, right in that range, and it started with a big stick of volume here, and that's what really pushed us to the upside. But Link's been all the way up at $20. We're looking down now about $8.25, and for a longer term hold, that's why I'm just slowly laddering into this. It's going to be a longer term hold. I'm going to want to try to make it up to some of these higher levels, like around $12.69. That's going to be one of my first targets, and I'll just keep moving up as we hit those resistance areas. If we take a look at Link, we have a 16 sell, 8 neutral, and a 4 buy in the 1 day time frame. If we take a look at the week, we have a 9 sell, 10 neutral, 5 buy. If we look at the month, we're looking at a 2 sell, 3 neutral, and a 4 buy there. So looking a little better in the longer term, and that's the type of position I would be playing for this, is a longer term, waiting for those next big volume pumps that we get in the market here. So that's Link, guys. Next one we're going to go to is Tezos. Tezos is at $1.99 right now. It's hit plenty of targets because this is another one that I'm starting to layer into as well. Started around that 222. That was a target. We hit that. My next one's going to be 180. That's a spot I was really looking at here to see if we can get down to that. That'd be a little bit heavier of a buying area. The RSI is at 29, so we're getting a little overextended to the downside. And if we take a look here at Tezos, you can see overall in the macro sense, we still are in an uptrend here, and we typically have very deep retracements when we have them for these coins, and that's why sometimes you have to ladder into fear and then out into greed. That's what I like to do. You know, guys, in this space, it's so volatile. I really, truly believe finding these areas that are key spots, saying, okay, I'm going to put in 25% here, and then if it goes lower, 50% here, then another 25% down here, vice versa all around, then you can kind of get that average after you've already been down 60% in the coin. You know what I'm saying? This whole area right now, we're starting to ladder in down in this area after we've had this massive drop. Even if we go halfway back to where we've been, you're looking at $3.35 there, and that'd be a heck of a play. You know, that's the type of stuff that I like to look at there. You can see each time we really retrace deep, and that's kind of why you have to buy into that fear and then sell into the greed. Okay, if we take a look at Tezos now, we have a 17 sell, 8 neutral, 3 buy. If we go out to the 1 week, 13 sell, 8 neutral, and a 3 buy. If we go out to the 1 month, we're a little bit more neutral there. 5 sell, 0 neutral, 1 buy. Oscillator, 0 sell, 0 neutral, 1 buy. But it's one I want to take a risk on. Same with Link. Just slowly accumulate some of those, try to play some of those positions, and then let it go once you start really pumping and getting these big moves to the upside on heavy volume. That's just how I like to play it, guys. And sometimes you have to deal with drawdowns, allowing yourself or allowing the price to even go lower, and just dealing with that because you know how markets move and you know that you're going to get that nice bounce once we start getting a reversal. So that's how I like to play, guys. That's Tezos. Next, we're going to go into Digibyte. Digibyte is at 0.02672. We found a little bit of support right between the 100 and the 200 moving average here. So we had a little bit of a double bottom there, pushed up. This long wick here is an indication, though, that a lot of people were taking profits and there was a lot of selling here. You can see that came on heavy volume as well. So I still would look to hold, and this is in the macro sense. In the longer term view, we don't want to start dropping below 0.02089. Okay, so we can come down here, set a higher low off any of these moving averages. That'd be fine, and then see if we can get that next move to the upside. That's what we're going to be looking at there. RSI is sitting about 53. If we take a look at technicals, you can see Digibyte's been a little bit stronger now because it's been getting that bounce. 6 sell, 8 neutral, 14 buy. Oscillators, 1 sell, 8 neutral, 2 buy. If we take a look at the 1 week, 2 sell, 10 neutral, 12 buy. Oscillators, 1 sell, 9 neutral, and a 1 buy is what we're looking at for Digibyte there. But we're back up above all the moving averages. We're up above our 20, our 50, and our 100, and our 200, and that happened fairly quick here. The only thing I would say is we didn't have a ton of volume down in here. We're having a lot more selling volume than we had buying volume. So we need to be aware of that because this could just be a lower high here from this tweezer top that we had. Okay, so pay attention to those areas. Just see where Digibyte finds support. Like I said, I think this is a good longer term hold as opposed to just trading all the time. It's very volatile. And then we'll get into Litecoin next. Litecoin's at $44.49. We have dropped down through my white trend line here. That's not a good sign, guys, and it came on heavy volume. Okay, in terms of the RSI now, what we're trying to do is find a little bit of divergence here in terms of the price and the RSI. We want to see a little bit of strength, a little bit of volume coming in. We've hit some critical supports of around 41, 45. We've talked about that area, but we need some heavier volume. Really haven't been getting it for Litecoin. It's been stomped down pretty good from our high of around 70. And guys, like we talk about, you know, when we saw this head and shoulders, that's the importance of taking profit in this space, because it really, unless you're, you know, laddering in, like we talked about with linking those, laddering into that fear and then selling into the greed, longer term position trading, that type of stuff, which is great for this market as well. But, you know, this type of thing, when you're seeing a lot of profit and you just continue to ride it down, it gets difficult, you know, when the price goes from $70 down to 40. And that's where you can capitalize if you're able to sell up in this area and you're patient and you start looking for these areas. But this was a spot for Litecoin. We wanted to hold around these longer wicks, and we actually dumped down through. That's why we had a longer, stronger candle there. Okay, so now we're looking to keep that $40 as support, and now we have all these moving averages acting as overhead resistance as opposed to support. So that's where it's going to get difficult. It's going to be tough for us to get back up above $50. It's going to take buying pressure, but it's something we're just going to have to pay attention to. Like we said, these shakeouts can be very long, and then we can start to get that reversal once basically everybody's been shaken out and it looks like it's about to flip to a complete bear market, and then the buyers, the whales, step in. You know how this game goes, guys. So just wanted to put this stuff on your radar. God bless each and every one of you guys. Take care.